Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjanan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhaktavandavam Gauramanu Purnam Radhadasyam Pradayakam Nirupanugacharya Varyam Rupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismirahasara Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramardatama Shri Guru Pada Padma, Nitrila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Astotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva, and to my most worshipable Shikshan Sannyasa Guru, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotara Satasi Srimad Srila Bhakti Vijnana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shirupanava Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time to continue reading from Sri Gopi-gita, verse number 5. Virachita bhayam vrishni dhuryate charanamiyusham sansmriter bhayat karasaroruham kantakamadam shirasidhehina Shri Karagraham. O crest jewel of the Yadu dynasty, O beloved, your lotus hand grants fearlessness to those souls who, terrified by the cycle of birth and death, surrender to your lotus feet. O fulfiller of our desires, please place on our heads that very lotus hand which grants fearlessness and which accepted both the hands of Lakshmi. So here in this verse, the gopis, they are praying so that Krishna would place his lotus hands on their head, just like he did with Lakshmi Devi. So the commentary of Srila Gurudeva Bhava Prakashika Vritti. The gopis say to Krishna, O crest jewel of the Vrishni dynasty, Vrishni Dhurya, O dear most beloved Kanta, O you whose lotus hand fulfills all desires, Kamada, we are now extremely frightened, Virachita bhayam. Those who are perplexed and frightened by worldly affairs approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna to become free from the repetition, birth and death. Samsmriti. In this cycle, there are 6 phases of transformation: taking birth, existing, growing, producing byproducts like children, deteriorating, and death. After the age of 50, All aspects of the body and mind gradually become worn and torn. The eyes, teeth, ears, mind, mental faculties, and all the other senses become gradually decrepit. At a time, one cannot even enjoy delicious foods because he is not able to properly digest. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Vriddha kala aola saba sukha bhagal bhogavati dukkito. I want to enjoy material happiness, but I cannot, and this causes me overwhelming sorrow. This is a song from Sharanagati, the first principle of surrender, Dainya, humility. The song number 5. And Sri Shankaracharya has written in Bhaja Govindam, verse 22, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Again birth, again death, again lying in the womb of a mother. This is samsmriti, traversing material existence. The meaning of samsmriti has also relation to the word vraj, which means that which moves around. But this type of samsmriti takes us towards Krishna and the full happiness of Braj. One samsriti takes us to hell and complete destruction, and the other moves in the opposite direction and take us up to Braj. So here Srila Gurudev explains the meaning of the word Braj. Braj means to move around. So Krishna, he is always moving around. He's never staying too long in one place in Vrindavan. His routine is like always moving. So in same way, the living entities, they are actually moving in this almost eternal cycle of birth and death. So here gopis are making this type of comparison. Let's see further what is Gurudev's purport on that. So the devotees of Krishna who aim to loosen their attachment to the material world, they circumambulate Gurudev, Vaishnavas, the deity, and Tulasi in a clockwise direction. Those who are tightening their attachment, however, circumambulate in an anti-clockwise direction, such as in an Indian marriage ceremony, where the bride and groom walk counterclockwise around the fire. Okay, that's clear. So the gopis say, Charanam yusham samvrite bhayat. If someone takes full shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he places his liberal hand on that person's head. Then automatically that person becomes fearless, abhay. Kantakamadam means, O beloved, you fulfill all desires. So please keep your lotus hand upon our head. Now we will turn to the commentary of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. He has explained that in the previous verses, Shri Krishna heard everything the gopis were telling him. Thus, when they called him a betrayer of faith, this Vishwasaghati, and a sinful killer of women, he told them, I am leaving this place immediately and will not return in this birth. The gopis then became fearful. Therefore, in the 4th verse, it is seen how they try to appease him by addressing him as a friend and begging him not to go. So you remember that the 4th verse was like the turning over point for the gopis when they were accusing Krishna of so many things and criticizing him so much. Finally, when Krishna threatened them of never returning, then they start changing their words. And in this 5th verse, they are even more more easy with him. Now they are begging for Krishna's blessings and Krishna's mercy, saying that only him can remove that fear. And what is that fear? That fear the gopis feel is the fear that Krishna, he would never return to them again. That's the only fear the gopis have. But actually, why is that fear in the sense? Not for their own sense gratification. It's because they know that only they can serve Krishna better, only they can make Krishna happy. So if Krishna won't come to them again, then what will happen? Krishna, he won't be happy as much as he could, because only they can make him happiest. So, gratified by their appeal, Krishna told them, "O gopis, I have heard your words of sweet criticism. I know that they were not abuse, but an expression of your intimate feelings, spoken in the anger of pure love. While you were calling me a cheat and a debauchee, I was standing nearby, eager to drink the nectar of your every word. I am so pleased with you that I will now offer you a boon. You may ask anything from me. Tell me what you desire, and I will grant you that." It's good to remember that Krishna, he likes to be abused by gopis. When gopis use very harsh words, very critical words, he's very happy about that. And also it's good to remember that the purports of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur are one type of, he's like recreating a possible dialogue between them. But this dialogue didn't take place exactly as if Krishna was there. Okay? Now, gladdened by Krishna's statement, the gopis entreat him in this fifth verse. "O most magnanimous personality in the entire Vrishni and Yadu dynasties, you are the brilliant sun that illuminates the lotus flower of the Yadu dynasty. Please place your lotus hand on our heads." Why do they ask for this? A man's love and affection for his subordinates, such as his child, disciple, junior, or anyone who comes to him for shelter, will be shown by his placing his hand on that person's head. And that is why we always ask Srila Gurudev to put his hand on our head. And if we pay our obeisances to him and he touches our head, it means that he's accepting us as his subordinate, like a disciple. This is a very, this is a very common understanding in Vedic culture, that if the superior puts his hands on or her hands on the head of the subordinate, it means that he is accepting, he is blessing, and he is protecting. And I remember once that I paid pranam to Srila Gurudev, and he was busy with many people around, and I just took his hand, and I put by myself on my head, so that I could at least have that blessed touch from him. I don't know if he wanted that, but anyway, I did that. Also, I did that once with Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. So then by this he communicates, "I will give you whatever you want." We learn from Sri Bhakti Ratnakar and Shunavadip Dham Mahatmya that Nityananda Prabhu placed his lotus feet on the heads of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami and Srila Raghunatha Das Goswami. And he also bestowed such mercy upon Srila Jiva Goswami. He can do this because he is Guru. He did not do this in his form as Sri Baladev, but as the all-merciful Nityananda Prabhu. He placed his lotus feet on the heads of many devotees. What to speak of Shivananda Sen? He did not only get Nityananda Prabhu's feet, but he got a kick of Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet. Even more mercy than that. I know one devotee also who got a kick from Srila Gurudev. This is Madhusudan Prabhu from Navadvip, the in charge of our Navadvip Mat. Gurudev once also kicked him. It was very nice. Everyone was laughing so much. So then Srila Gurudev is quoting here one verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila 8.31. Chaitanya Nityanande nahi e shab vichar, nama loile premaden vahe ashrudhar. But if one only chants with some slight faith the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offenses. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he feels the ecstasy of love for God. We may live in Vrindavan and call out, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, Krishna," but tears do not fall from our eyes and our hearts do not melt. On the other hand, if we go to Navadip Dham and cry out, "O Gaura, O Nityananda, I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai and all other demons. Sri Gauranga Nityananda Prabhu, you surely bestow their astonishing, causeless mercy upon us." We can beseech Nityananda Prabhu in this way. Jagai and Madai persecuted you, but you gave them your mercy, and they began to chant Krishna, Krishna. Both of them wept loudly, and their hearts melted. But I am even more sinful than Jagai and Madai. Nityananda Prabhu is our only true shelter. If we want prem, we need only approach his lotus feet. Nityananda Prabhu comes to us through our Guru, and he is the complete and undivided principle of Sri Guru, means Akhanda Guru Tattva. Therefore, Sri Guru is a repository of the qualities of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. It is a great solace that our Gurudev is his manifestation. For example, in a marvelous way, Param Pujapad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj gave mercy to many drunkards and cheaters who were disqualified in every way. He placed his hand on the heads of whoever came to him. He was so liberal that he even told them, "Oh, you want a wife? I will arrange everything." By his mercy, he thought, somehow or other, these people should come and taste the nectar of Krishna now. By this, they will surely leave behind all their material attachments. If not in this birth, then in 2 or 3 births from now. Thus, by the grace of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, they will become pure. Now, in this 5th verse of Sri Gopi-gita, the gopis implore Krishna, "Your lotus hand can fulfill all of our desires. So please grant us fearlessness by placing it on our heads." What do the gopis fear? They fear burning the blazing fire of Kama because Krishna is not with them. They think, if Krishna comes into our midst, we will be out of danger. He will certainly dance with us and perform all varieties of loving pastimes with us. So here we can easily guess that when gopis ask Krishna to place his hand on their heads to bestow fearlessness, it means just by Krishna's presence itself, fearlessness would be gone, means would be granted, because he's there and that's what gopis want, that he should be there. So there would be no need for him even to place his hand on their heads, because just by his presence, everything is accomplished. But gopis, they have to be tricky. They have to say things in the indirect way. So in this way, they're telling Krishna, please, we need your hand on our head for us to feel like fearless. But actually, just by his presence, automatically, fear would leave Gopi's heart. So now they think, if Krishna comes The gopis ask Krishna to place his hand on their heads, but in response he asks them, how can I ever do that? It is not possible for me to perform the sinful act of placing my hand on the heads of others' wives. As mentioned above, the gopis first address Krishna as Kanta, beloved, and then as Kamada, he whose lotus hand awards the fulfillment of all desires, and he whose lotus hand gives Kama. In this way they say, you told us we can ask a boon of you, and we know you have the power to give that boon. We have come to you because the 5 arrows of Kamadev have pierced our hearts, leaving us on the verge of death. The Supreme Personality of Godhead places his hand on the heads of those who have taken shelter of his lotus feet. All living entities who are bound up in the cycle of birth and death want freedom from the fear of remaining in that cycle. For someone who takes shelter of you, all his suffering disappears automatically, and he becomes fearless, confident that he will never again become bound up in worldly enjoyment. So here there is a footnote saying that Srila Gurudev's Bhavanuvada of Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary on this verse explains the gopis' mood in this connection. There is stated that although the gopis have no knowledge of Krishna's godhood, they seem to be full of awe and reverence here, just as they seem so in the verse 4. So again, gopis are like treating Krishna, as if he was like a divine personality or so. But this is not like officially, this is just like external. So now the gopis continue. So we have surrendered unto your feet, knowing that your lotus hand will surely fulfill our desires. If you put your hand on our heads, the burning fire of Kama will disappear from our hearts. But not only that, we will no longer feel separation from you. We always fear that you will leave us. If you keep your lotus hand on our heads, we will know for certain that you will never leave us and that we will always be with you. So here seems that the gopis are treating Krishna like a master, right? There is a type of feeling of dasya, very, very strong here. But at the same time, they say that he can bestow this kama, and that is madhurya. Why that happens? That happens because all the rasas are inside madhurya ras. So gopis, they manifest all different rasas in their dealings with Krishna. Many people think gopis have only madhurya. No. Madhurya is the adi ras, is the first ras. And from madhurya, the other ones are coming out. So the sequence begins from madhurya, not from shanta. Usually we say shanta dasa sakya vatsalya madhurya. But actually this is the opposite. This is madhurya, vatsalya, sakya, dasa and shanta. Madhurya has all the 5. Vatsalya has only 4. Sakya has 3. Dasa has 2. And shanta has 1 rasa only. So in this way, gopis, they can manifest all different rasas in their relationship with Krishna. Conditioned souls want to become free from the cycle of birth and death. But the gopis' only desire is to be free from the fear of separation from Krishna. Krishna may tell them, you say you want me to protect you from Kama, but Kama lives in the heart. If what you say is correct, why should I place my hand on your heads? Should I not place it where Kama is present? That desire is in me, and I think you have the same desire. In response to this, they say, Shri Karagraham, as you have taken the hand of Shri Lakshmi in marriage, which means that you will never leave her, we want you to place our hands in your hands, not what you suggest. Even if you want to place your hand on the breast of Lakshmi, she will not allow you to do so. Similarly, do not put your hand on our bodies, only on our heads. So Krishna is very clever. He's telling gopis, oh, your karma is not on your head, is in your heart. So therefore I should place my hand on your heart. And gopis say, no, 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 no. We said, as you did with Lakshmi. And Lakshmi only accepted you to touch her hand, either her head, not her breast. Therefore, we only want you to touch our heads. So this is the end of the verse number 5, the purport of verse number 5. And we'll continue with the verse number 6. Braja janartihang virayoshitam nija janas maya dvamsanasmita bhaja sakhe bhavat kinkaris mano jalaruhananam charu darshaya. O you who destroys the sorrows of the residents of Braj, O best among heroes, the beam of whose mere smile shatters the pride of your near and dear ones, which arises from good fortune, and from the sulky mood, man, arising from that pride. O dear friend, please fulfill the desire of your maidservants. At least this once, kindly show us helpless girls your attractive lotus face and make us happy. So again, gopis, they are praying so much to Krishna that he should appear. And they say that in fact they have pride. At least here they are assuming they have pride. And that pride gives space for man, sulky mood. But in any way, they are becoming more humble. You can see gopis, they are like coming down. But that's just temporary. Next coming verses, again, they will rise and they again, accuse Krishna of so many things. So let's see how is the commentary of Srila Gurudev, Bhava Prakashika Vritti. Before we begin, we should pray to Srila Shukadeva Goswami and Sri Parikshit Maharaj, to Srila Vyasadev, then to the gopis, and after that to Sri Radha and Krishna. Mercy is flowing to us through this line. So before we begin what? Before we begin reading this book, before we begin entering those pastimes, we should follow this sequence of Guru Parampara. And that is Srila Shukadeva Goswami, from whom we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And also to Srila Gurudeva, he includes Parikshit Maharaj as well, because he's the Shrota. He's the one who is listening Shukadeva Goswami and also replying to him. And he becomes just like Arjun in Kurukshetra with Krishna. He becomes the calf, which makes the cow to give milk. So at that time, this is Parikshit Maharaj playing this role. In this way, he's very, very important here as well. So therefore, Srila Gurudev is placing him in our prayers. Then to their Guru, Srila Vyasadev. Then to the gopis. And then to Radha and Krishna. When we read, we should think that we are sitting in the assembly where Srila Shukadeva Goswami is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Or we should think that we are in Vrindavan, at the place where the gopis are speaking with Krishna. We should contemplate, my heart, indeed my very self, is with the gopis and also with Shukadeva Goswami. We must yearn to have the same moods as they have, to be on the same platform as they are. The attainment of such absorption is called samadhi. Now there is a footnote, Srila Gurudev explaining, sama means equal and dhi means complete absorption of the intelligence. In other words, a person in samadhi has the same level of consciousness as his worshipful deity, and is doing service on that platform. I could say that one type of synonymous for this samadhi, this is Atma Sat, as we see in that song, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. Koromore Atma Sat. Koromore Atma Sat means make me one with your Atma. But Atma means what? His very self. It means his, what to say? This is his Manobishtam. Make me one with your Manobishtam. Make me one with your mood, with your Sevavritti, with your Bhava. Let me understand what you want automatically without you need to speak anything to me. Without you have to give me any order. Let me know ahead, before, what is needed to do in your service and also in the service of Srimati Radhika. So this is the meaning of samadhi in this context. It's not that someone is meditating and become identified with the object of his meditation. No. Samadhi in context of bhakti yoga means like this. Become what? Completely tadatmya. This is a oneness. This oneness of the heart, of the mood. This is what we want. This type of absorption in what Gurudev is feeling, what gopis are feeling, what Radha and Krishna are feeling, and being able to flow in their association, in the way that I will just always be able to serve and complement in a very harmonious way whatever they are doing. My presence there is just part of that very scenario, and I can easily dance along with them and move along with them, just like a very professional type of dancing company can do. They can move together, in the same second, in a very beautiful type of choreography. So in the same way, when we are totally absorbed in the mood of Gurudev and the Manjaris like that, then we can just make part of that very harmonious way, and we can flow together in that same seva, in that same direction, always having the same goal, having the same aim. And that can have, many varieties of possibilities, right? So now Srila Gurudev is saying, the samadhi of the yogis is zero in comparison. The yogis have no platform on which to stand, not for a second, or even for a millionth of a second. The samadhi I speak about is situated on a very solid and perfect platform. In the later chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur discusses Sri Krishna and the gopis' feelings of separation from each other. He says that when Krishna leaves Vrindavan, he does not take with him his flute, his smile, or his Braj attire. He keeps everything in Vrindavan, including his moods, which he leaves with the gopis. He goes empty-hearted to Mathura and Dwarka, where he constantly weeps. We read in Brihad Bhagavatamritam how bitterly he weeps in Dwarka, lamenting by saying, I have left everything of mine in Vrindavan, my heart, my soul, and my mood. It means that this is not more Brajendra Nandan Sham Sundar. This is Dwarkadish. At that time, the gopis also lament. Krishna has taken our minds, our hearts, our moods, and everything we possess. Moreover, he has taken our closest, most devoted friends, sleeping and fainting. Means when gopis are sleeping, they have some relief, as well as when they are fainting. But now they are in such state of, anxiety, they can't sleep and they cannot faint. So now they are constantly thinking about Krishna, and Krishna is not there. And the same way Krishna left everything he had behind, he took also everything with gopis, because gopis' life resides in Krishna. Gopis' life does not reside in themselves. Mm-hmm. So in this way, the gopis say, Krishna left us completely empty. In separation from Krishna, the gopis feel his presence. They ponder every minute aspect of their meeting with him. And in so doing, they experience him fully. When they are with him, they forget that experience. They lose that feeling of being united with him internally. Withdrawing from external consciousness and associating with him internally nourishes the desire for meeting him, and also nourishes the actual experience of meeting him. For this reason, the mood of separation is of extreme value to Shri Krishna and the gopis. I'm not sure if that is clear, but the point is that when Krishna and gopis, they are separated, the gopis, they can experience one type of meeting which is very special. But when they are together, they may forget that they are together and they experience separation. This is the lila of Prem Sarovar. It happens with Srimati Radhika. That's the only way, that's the only, this is the speciality of Srimati Radhika. This is Madanakya Mahabhav. Only she can experiment that. Srila Gurudev, he explains that very nicely in the book, The Origin of Ratha Yatra, which is very nice. So, and this is also one of the reasons why Krishna left Vrindavan. That's what he wants to see, the gopis experimenting this very intense meeting with him. If their moods of separation had not been revealed, we would have no idea of them. The world would have no idea of such elevated sentiments. This mood of separation between Krishna and gopis is the main wealth of Rasika and Bhavuka Bhaktas. Srimad Bhagavatam reviews these pastimes of separation in the verse 1.1.3. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukkamukhadamrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam malayam muhura hora sikha bhuvi bhavuka. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of the Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarine juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Now, in their intolerable separation from Krishna, the gopis utter the words of the 6th verse, beginning Braja Janartiham. Ordinarily, this means you destroy the suffering of the residents of Braj and the sufferings of people in general. Yet, although we are also Brajajan, you are giving us distress. We have seen you remove the distress of everyone else in Vrindavan, so why not ours? In this verse, the word Vira, or hero, specifically refers to Gokula Vira, the hero of Gokul. And Gokul refers to Vrindavan, Radha Kunda, and all other pastime places of Shri Radha and Krishna. In this context, Vira does not carry its usual meaning, hero in battle. It refers only to Madhura Ras, meaning Shri Krishna's transcendental amorous pastimes, and thus it indicates a hero of Madhura Ras. So this hero is the hero which is with gopis, not the same hero which is with Arjun, for example, in Kurukshetra. It's a different type of hero. This hero is a hero of amorous pastimes. So It specifically refers to Krishna as Dhir Lalit, which Sri Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu describes as the hero who is expert in the 64 arts and in amorous sports, always situated in fresh youth, expert at joking, devoid of anxiety, and controlled by the prema of his beloveds. Yoshitam nijajanas mayadvam sanaismita. With these words, the gopis allude to their kama, which is blazing like a fire, and thus they tell Krishna, by your mere smile, you destroy the burning torment caused by the Cupid's arrows. Bhajasakhe bhavat kinkari. The gopis continue, we are your kinkaris. You are completely devoted maidservants, so please fulfill our desires. Bhaj means to serve. So here the gopis are saying, you should serve your kinkaris. In actuality, however, they want Krishna to fulfill their desire to serve him. In this connection, the word bhaj implies to the devotees that the devotees serve Krishna and Krishna serves his devotees. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yiyatamam prapadyante tam sativa bhajamyaham. As they surrender to me, I reciprocate accordingly. This is his promise. So Krishna, the gopis actually, they are asking Krishna that he should serve them. So it means he should reciprocate with them. That's what gopis want. They want him to reciprocate. Next one is Nija Jala Ruhananam Charu Darshaya. The gopis entreat Krishna, please show us your beautiful lotus face. The above mentioned explanations reveal the general meaning of the verse, whereas the commentary of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur reveals what the gopis are actually expressing. Quote, for other persons, you destroy their various kinds of distress. For us gopis, however, you annihilate the anguish caused by the arrows of Cupid, and only you can do this. You do not extinguish the burning pain caused by the kama felt by the demigoddesses or other girls. In order to explain the gopis' words, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur quotes a verse from Gopi-gita, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:35.3. Vyomayanna vanita sahasidir vismitas tad upadharya salaja kama margana samarpita chita kasmalam yayur upasmrita nivya. In the above mentioned verse, the gopis say that as the demigoddesses were sitting in their airplanes in the sky, embraced in their husbands' arms, they beheld Krishna and heard his flute song. As a result, they became full of kama, swooning unconscious into their husbands' laps, with their garments loosened. Rather than become jealous at this display, their husbands became filled with admiration for them. In Gopi-gita, the gopis simply point out that when the demigoddesses saw the lotus feet of Krishna and heard his sweet flute song, they became struck with wonder and fell unconscious in their husbands' laps. They do not say anything about Krishna coming to pacify those demigoddesses. So Krishna, he never went to any demigoddesses, right? He just was playing with gopis all the time. And demigoddesses, they just have chance to watch from distance what Krishna was playing there in Rasa with the gopis. And their husbands, they were not jealous about that. They were actually, proud that their wives were like having such type of love for Krishna, because they knew Krishna was God, you know. At that time, everyone already knows that Krishna is God. So, in this way. Now, in the 6th verse of Gopi-gita, the gopis reveal why it is that Krishna comes only to them. It is because no one experiences the agony they do, and no one else accepts Krishna as the only doctor competent to treat them. They say, "We have been pierced by your 5 arrows, which are causing us unbearable pain and distress. But if we see your sweet nectarian lotus face, this misery will completely disappear. Please show us your enchanting lotus face. O hero, you alone hold the power to eliminate this pain from our hearts." It's just a very little to complete this verse, so let us take more 10 minutes and then we can also finish this purport. There were 2 reasons Krishna left the rasa dance. The first was to remove the gopis' pride in their own good fortune. This is Sobhagyamada. And the second was to please Srimati Radhika and assuage her jealous anger. In this verse, the gopis give their opinion about his first reason. "You have used an atom bomb to destroy such a little thing. Your smile alone would have been enough to remove our pride." So the gopis assume, as I mentioned at the very beginning, they assume they were proud, right? But they told Krishna, "Your punishment is like much greater than actually we deserve. Just by a simple smile, you could have shown us that we were proud, and you were not happy about that. But you have used such a atomic bomb, means you left us, and this is too much for what we have mistake." And Gopi say, "There was no good reason to have given us such pain by disappearing. This was a useless waste of energy." Thus they address him as a hero. Upon hearing these words, Krishna's heart melts. He says, "Oh, you only want to see me smiling? The loving words you speak give me so much happiness that I am ready to give you whatever you want. Tell me immediately what you desire. Do not delay for a single moment." We can see clear how Krishna he repented, he regretted to have left actually gopis for some time. For some time he regretted, but in fact he did everything correctly as it should have been done. In the gopis' response, they address him as a friend, Sakha. In this way, they tell him, "It is true that we are your completely dedicated maidservants, but we are also your Sakhis, your friends." With the word bhaj, they convey, "You should certainly serve us, but not just by appearing before us. You should also decorate us and give us betel nuts as you did earlier, when we first came here to meet with you. At the time you asked us, 'What have you done? Why have you applied makeup to only one eye? Why not to another eye as well?' Then, in a most charming way, you carefully and gently applied makeup to the other eye." It means when gopis left their homes, they just stopped whatever they were doing. And some were like in a halfway of completing their makeup, from ending. So when Krishna saw them with only one eye, with kajal, he laughed at them and he joked with them. And Krishna says, "Why you have come only one eye with kajal?" And then himself he applied in their eyes very nicely. When Krishna first called them for Rasa Lila with his melodious flute song, they had no time to adorn themselves properly. They had donned their ornaments haphazardly, having readied themselves in great haste before running from their homes. Their necklaces were on their waists, and they had randomly placed their other ornaments. When they arrived at the spot where Shri Krishna was waiting for them, he very gently took their necklaces from their waists and placed them around their necks. He also strengthened all the other ornaments on their divine forms. As he served them in this way, both he and they were overwhelmed with joy. Aware that his inner desire was to serve them, each gopi thought, Krishna should serve me like this every day. Now, as they sing this Gopi-gita, they say, O Sakha, we order you to do what you did when we first arrived here. Why are you ordering me in this way? Krishna asks. You are our Sakha, they reply. A Saki can give orders to her Sakha. Because Sakha means, Sakyarasa means the sense of equality. Always remember, Sakyarasa means equality. There is no superior or inferior. You can speak in any way because you are equal. And then Krishna says, aren't you afraid to give me orders? And gopis say, no. Actually, it is quite satisfying to give you orders. And if you carry out those orders, we will be delighted. It is even better if you follow our orders. And Krishna says, tell me then, what should I do? How should I serve you? And Gopi is saying, the first thing you can do is to show us your lotus face, Jalaruhananam. Jalaruha means lotus, and Ananam means face. First come to us, and after that we will order you to do specific services. A Rasika and Bhavuka devotee silently contemplates these pastimes. Krishna serving the gopis, the pleasure he receives in doing so, and the simultaneous pleasure of the gopis. The gopis smile, and this is just what Shri Krishna wants to see. In fact, he wants to see their smiling faces more than he wants to smile himself. In this regard, there is a passage in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 4.187 to 194. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Krishna derives from seeing them. The gopis have no inclination to act for their own enjoyment, and yet their joy increases. The joy of the gopis lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. When Shri Krishna sees the gopis, his joy increases, and thus his unparalleled sweetness also increases. The gopis think, Krishna has obtained so much pleasure by seeing me. That thought increases the fullness and beauty of their faces and bodies, the sight of which further increases the beauty of Krishna. And the more the gopis see Krishna's beauty, the more their own beauty increases. In this way, a loving competition takes place between them, in which none of them acknowledges defeat. This is a very beautiful description in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I really advise everyone to read that. And myself, I have made long time ago a type of resume of these verses. There are many verses, not only this. It's a very long part of the chapter, and I can share with all of you also. This is already like edited, I separate, all the verses without purports and everything, and it's so deep and so beautiful and so sweet descriptions of the relation between Krishna and gopis, and especially the glorification of Srimati Radhika. It's very, very remarkable, and it's like completely necessary to really go deep and understand, all the subtle aspects of Radha and Krishna, and also Krishna and gopis, a loving relationship. You can remember later, then I can send this file and then share, okay? So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami thus describes the competition between Shri Krishna and the gopis, which ended in a draw. Srila Kaviraj Goswami whistled and gave judgment that neither side had won. Actually, we Gaudiya Vaishnavas do not want this. We want the whistle to be blown to indicate Srimati Radhika's victory. Radhika will be so happy and we will applaud and celebrate. This is the real mood of Srila Krishnadas Kabiraja Goswami, Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, and Srila Rupa Goswami. If Srimati Lalita Devi is the mediator in a game, she will blow the whistle to say it is a draw, that no one has been defeated. But Sri Rupa Manjari will whistle to announce that Srimati Radhika has defeated Krishna. It is Sri Krishna himself who will experience the greatest pleasure when he is defeated, although his friends like Madhumangal and others will not be pleased at all. Kundalata Gopi will also be sorry for that Krishna has lost, and the Nishta Gopi may even faint. Krishna's defeat causes such friends great distress, and his victory fills them with joy. In his Vaishnava Toshani commentary on this sixth verse, Srila Jiva Goswami applies the rule of Sanskrit grammar. When a word starting with a ne is preceded by a word ending with a ni, the a is dropped and replaced with an apostrophe. Thus, in this verse, the word bhavat, which means yours, may be read as abhavat, not yours. And then the phrase will be abhavat kinkarinaha. Accordingly, this line may read either sakhe bhava or sakhe abhavat. Applying the later interpretation, the gopis say, we are not saying that you should serve us. We can serve those who are not your kinkaris, like Kubja and others. We are your kinkaris, and they are not. So you should go to them and serve them. Srila Jiva Goswami also gives an alternative meaning to the words na jala ruhananam charu darshaya. In this case, the gopis say, we do not want to see your lotus face. You make us suffer from constant separation, not just once or twice, but always. So, there is no need to show us your lotus face. We have now made a vow to die. With the explanation of these alternative meanings, Srila Jiva Goswami completes his commentary on the Gopis' sixth prayer. And that's the end of Srila Gurudev's purport. Hare Krishna.